Some people say that January is the longest month of the year, and more often than not, I disagree. This time around, however, for 2024, I totally agree. Because after being teased about it last year, seeing it online, on paper eventually, even flying to Japan to touch it and drive it, now January 26 couldn't come any sooner because it's finally here. This, ladies and gentlemen, I'm touching is the 2024 Mitsubishi Triton in the flesh Philippine spec. It's finally here. So everything that you're seeing here right now is basically what we're going to get in the Philippines. And on this walk around, I'll take you through the exterior, the interior, and then the one really big change on this vehicle that you can't really see, but can most definitely be felt. Ooh, Jack, head out of the gutter, please. The first thing that you want to know is variants available for this pickup truck. There are a total of 7. Yes, 7. From the entry level all the way up to the Athlete, which is the top of the line. The next thing that you're going to want to know is the price. It starts at 1,134,000 Philippine pesos, but that's for the entry level variant. And then it tops off with this Athlete at 1,909,000 Philippine pesos. Now, all those prices and everything else in between, including specs and whatnot, are all available on our website, AutoDeal.com.ph, and on our app, of course, where you can whip it out and see all the prices there and compare this pickup truck with other pickup trucks in the field. And at the same time, I must tell you also that our app is not just a comparo tool or just a pricing tool. If you use our app, it can connect you to our elite sales agent that work very quickly and can connect you to the dealers that are closest to you to get you your next new car quick, fast, and in a hurry. Let's continue with the review. Let's start with the exterior, shall we? Now, I know you want to get into the engine right away. Don't worry, I'll get to that because there are differences from the top-of-the-line Athlete that has all the bells and whistles from the entry-level ones. It's also the engine is a big difference too. But let's start with the exterior, where it's a very broad shield. It's not a very large departure from the language of Mitsubishi. In fact, if you were to cover the diamonds, you'll still be able to think and say to yourself, yes, it does most definitely look like a Mitsubishi. It's broad, your DRLs are found up on top, your headlamps are found down below, and of course your LEDs here. Most cars nowadays, not pickup trucks, but most cars don't have these fog lamps anymore because their headlamps are intelligent enough. I, on the other hand, do appreciate still fog lamps. And of course, on a pickup truck, it's going to be very important because you need it with all the height that you have and to illuminate the road as best as you can. Moving on down the side, you've got 18-inch wheels that they're blacked out. They look good, but I gotta tell you, I prefer those. That's the GLS right there. I prefer the color on that better, not the guy beside. No, I don't prefer that dude. I like the wheels. They kind of, well, they just look better there. I don't know though if the silver would work here. Maybe the black does work better here, but I do like those nonetheless. Continuing down the side, you've got repeaters and your cameras on the side mirror, part of your 360-degree view. You have a step board here, which is nice. It's got some grooves on it, but it may look a little shiny to you from where you are, but I can tell you there's some form of grip there. You've got 222 millimeters of ground clearance on the Athlete. It varies a little bit on each variant, but 222 I believe is the most that you can get, which is obviously on the Athlete. And then you can see that you've got some, we're not fans of this, but you've got some piano blacks, at least it's outside the car, outside the vehicle in the form of roof rails, and of course here on the bed to add a little bit more beef to it, as well as these just above the arcs. At the rear, the tailgate, I expected there to be an assist. Unfortunately, there is none. It's quite heavy. The dimensions of the bed are such that it is maybe a fingernail or two wider than 5 feet and a fingernail or two longer than 5 feet. The height is under 2 feet. Now, the bed capacity for all the trucks are exactly the same. So is too the load capacity. And this is the interesting thing. The load capacity of this vehicle now is 984 or 985 kilograms. Previously, it was at 940 kilograms. So you've gained more load capacity. How they've done that, don't worry, I'll get to that. Oh my goodness, a little bit later. Here at the back, you've got a grab handle to help you into the automobile, obviously with the step board as well. Getting in quite easy. Sitting down, I like it. Very comfortable. This is my normal driving position. So passengers, even the size of Jack behind my driving position wouldn't be an issue here as well. A third passenger, that might be the issue, because you do have somewhat of a tunnel, as you can see right here, and obviously their seat is not going to be as comfortable as yours, because this is, wow, I love it. This is probably one of the first times that I'm saying that this somewhat of a bucket seat back here feels really good. It's not a real bucket seat. I'm just saying it's somewhat of a bucket seat. It's suede, looks like it'll keep you there, and it's got bolsters on either side. It's very comfortable. I like it. The color scheme in here I can deal with, I can understand with also, because it's black with tan, and then there's tan stitching inside the suede. I like that. Here in the center, you've got an armrest with cup holders that can hold small and... Jack, are you coughing? Are you okay? Would you like some water? Here, have some water. This is yours anyway. So you've got cup holders that can hold bottles here, and then you've also got cup holders on the door. So you've got some carbon fiber on the door. And then look at this. It's cute because they've got pockets here on the side that you can put your cell phone in and whatnot. Now, it's cute that they put that there because it's really convenient, but odd that they did not put air vents. There are 0 air vents here at the rear. I didn't notice that in Japan, or maybe there was in Japan and there's none here. There is a 12-volt socket and a Type C and a Type A charging point, which is great. And also, I got to show you this. This is the key of a test unit that we have, right? And then because it's an Alliance, look at it. It's almost the same type of key. Oh, that'll about do it for the rear seats. The only other differences that you will find inside the Athlete and the other models down the line is that obviously we have leather seats here in the Athlete, the other models don't. And then the headliner here in the Athlete is color black, whereas in the GLS and other models, you know, the other car where the stranger was standing, you know, stranger like the left hand that you sit on, the headliner of that automobile is white. When you get up front, grab handle, which is always nice to get in and out of the car of. Thank you very much, Mitsubishi. There are some components in here that might look familiar. Like, for instance, the steering wheel might be familiar to some because it's actually similar to that of an Evo 10. And then the infotainment screen, which is 12.3 inches. It's quite large, but it looks very familiar, like it's a Nissan. I wonder why. Alliance, they share stuff. Okay, to continue with the rest of the automobile, you've got 2 analog gauges that flank a digital trip computer in the center, which will show you, by the way, your drive modes. There are 7 drive modes inside this car, from mud to snow to rock and roll, and it's really quite awesome. And that, coupled with something that I'll show you later, is what makes this car really ride and drive very differently. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So anyway, the infotainment system, which, by the way, I made a mistake. The Triton Athlete does have a 360-degree camera. Not just the Athlete has a 360 camera. The other models have them too. So there you have your 360 camera, your air vents found down below, digital controls, but switches that you can control your air very, very quickly, much like you can do the audio also. Underneath that, you've got a 12-volt socket, Type A and Type C charging points, wireless charger, your gear shifter here, your drive modes, which I mentioned earlier, and then this knob right here, which is really cool because this holds your 4x4 system as well as the 4H. Now, Mitsu has this really great thing where if you engage it into 4H, it acts really like I don't want to mention another car brand, but like a Subaru really, or even like a Mazda, where all 4 wheels are turning and there's no 4-wheel uncomfortable lock when the steering wheel is locked and you're stopped. If you're in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and those of you that use 4x4 know this, is that it kind of like lurches forward and then brakes, and then it doesn't know what to do because everything is locked, right? Here, in that sense, it doesn't have that. It rolls freely, but then all the power is delivered. And I could go on and on about it, but really what I want to show you is, apart from the changes of what the bells and whistles that you're looking in here, the leather and whatnot, this coupled with the one last thing I really want to show you out back is really what makes the difference of the ride and drive of this car. No, it's not the differential lock, it's the leaf springs found back here. They've made it now 3 leaf springs, but they've made it wider and thicker. By doing so, they've changed the ride and drive of this car dramatically, making it more stable, more pliant on the road, and I can't believe I'm using the word pliant when describing a pickup truck. And they've also increased the payload capacity by 40 kilos. Now that, coupled with the drive modes that I showed you, and then also the 4 high system, it just really makes for a different drive. drive, something that I'm dying to share with you guys, and I'm still trying to figure out how actually to articulate it on our behind the wheel when we finally get this car. But before we do that, the last thing I want to show you is the heart of this car. At the heart of it all is this diesel engine. Now, this is a 2.4 liter two-stage turbo diesel engine that is an inline four that produces 201 horses and 470 newton meters of torque, mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. There are a couple of things I need to mention to you. Number one is that the Athlete is the only one that receives a Super Select four-wheel drive system, while the rest get an Easy Select. Those that are 4x4s, obviously. The others just are two-wheel drive vehicles. What am I talking about? Now, speaking of the other variants, they do have the same 2.4 liter engine, although, like I said, this is the only one that has a two-stage turbo. Their power output is also quite different in the sense that the others only produce 180 horses and 430 newton meters of torque. Now, I'm smiling because that may sound like not a lot, but it was Earl and Jack that made me realize that the smaller engine sizes of this new Triton is actually the top of the line size of my Montero. They basically make me feel inadequate.
Sorry, you got downgraded.
I got downgraded, man. Can you imagine? The low-end variants of the Triton are the high-end models or engines of my generation. Is that even correct? Aww.
Okay lang yan.
I feel wee. With hopes that we get our hands on this vehicle as soon as possible, because I can't wait to figure out a way to articulate just exactly how well this car drives, and to really give you a bold prediction that this might actually be the best riding and driving pickup truck that we have available as of today. I know that's a bold statement, but give me some time and I'll make that decision, and I'll tell you about it on our next episode of Behind the Wheel. So do subscribe, because we create all these videos, you guessed it, just for you guys.